All right, everybody, welcome out to the Logroom Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, January the 24th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai. Yeah, I think that's the most intelligent thing you've said on this show to date. At least, you know. Okay. All right. Drink your water. There you go.
God, it's hard to talk with peanut butter in your mouth.
Oh, you have peanut butter. Why do you have peanut butter in your mouth?
Because it's National Peanut Butter Day. We do this shtick every beginning of every week.
Happy National Peanut Butter Day. All right. Well, I am going to partake today.
You're going to partake?
I am.
What are you eating?
I'm going to eat a little peanut butter cup.
Little teeny tiny peanut butter. I'm eating peanut butter on crackers. What's your favorite peanut butter, John?
Mine?
Favorite brand?
Skippy Crunchy.
There we go. I got creamy. I don't not so much about the crunchy. I like the crunchy every now and then.
Although I will have to tell you, for some reason, I don't know why, but our ShopRite hasn't had any Skippy in the last month.
Really?
And I need my peanut butter, right? So
ShopRite brand is actually pretty damn good.
So the bowl and basket, the ShopRite brand. So I've been getting that for like the last 2 or 3 times I got peanut butter. I got that, and it's pretty good. It's actually pretty good. So
it's actually one of the best peanut butters out there.
Yeah. So
but I love.
If you look at it, it's probably made by Skippy, right? It boils down to so
more than likely. But I really have to. I really got to drink a bunch of water right now because peanut butter is going to put flavor into everything I drink tonight.
Well, depending on what you're drinking, it might not be too bad.
I'm going to start off with a dark lager.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start off with a black lager.
I mean, I'm starting off with a black lager too. Actually, imagine a peanut butter Schwarzbier.
Imagine a peanut butter Schwarzbier. That could be interesting.
I've never seen one.
I might have to see if somebody could do that one day. I'm not sure who would partake. So, but I'll have to figure that.
You have to talk to somebody.
I know, in higher places or stuff like that. But it's also Eskimo Pie Day. Dave didn't want to mention it, but I'm going to say Happy Eskimo Pie Day.
Because I'm upset I have no Eskimo
Pie. Because he has no Eskimo Pie. However,
I like Klondike bars better.
You do. I know you do. Especially the crunchy ones you mentioned before.
The dark chocolate with the crunchies in them.
Wow. Exactly. And last but not least, certainly not least, it's Beer Can Appreciation Day.
We're always excited when we've got a beer-related observance on a Tuesday.
It's always
sometimes if it's on a Wednesday or a Monday, we'll celebrate it anyway.
Why not? Because it's right there. It's one side or the other. So.
It is today.
It is today. Happy Beer Can Appreciation Day, and I'm appreciating with these 5 beer cans right back here.
I've seen those 5 cans before.
Right there.
There's some decent liquid in those.
Thank you.
But if you go a little more to your right, that bottle there, that one
there.
From these guys.
That is correct.
That is their holiday bock.
That is their holiday bock.
When we get down to opening beers, I've opened my beer. You can probably see it right here.
I see it already. I'm going to open mine in a second. Well, once we get our guest on the show,
it's going to look just like the can's going to look just like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I appreciate this can.
I appreciate that can as well. So,
I appreciate you.
I know. There you go. Well, in the appreciative mood, I appreciate our guest that's here tonight with us.
Oh, let's appreciate the guest together.
Let's appreciate him together.
Did you get the sound effects like I requested last week?
I did not.
Okay, then I'll do them.
You do the sound effects. Okay, there you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Pete Culos. How are you, Pete?
Hey.
That was the crowd goes wild.
We're gonna try to get like a soundboard or something that John's just got to press the button and the crowd goes.
No, that was perfect. You're very enthusiastic. I like it.
It's very and it was quite realistic too.
We got that.
Yeah.
It was almost like somebody going.
It was quite realistic. It was exactly like somebody going. Right. So anyway, I'm going to start as well with.
Well, why don't you tell everybody what Pete does?
So
why we have him on?
I just was excited because I took it out. I'm not opening it yet. I was just going to show you the can appreciation. We were talking about beer can appreciation, were we not?
Okay, and you appreciate your can, and let's appreciate people. I'm going to start drinking my beer when you tell people what.
All right. Anyway, Pete, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Pete is the author of Jersey Bites, amongst other things, and he, of course, writes about beer on Jersey Bites as well. I think you call it Jersey Beer Bites, correct?
Well, yeah,
Bites beer.
yeah, that's my handle is Beer Bites, but actually I got it corrected. Jersey Bites that's my fiance Deb.
That's Deb's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you do write for it.
I do.
Right.
Yeah. Not about food. I'm not a food guy, but
you're not a food guy, right? But Deb is definitely all about food.
Oh, she's the pro for sure.
She is absolutely the pro. There you go. She is. So anyway,
we're gonna Jersey Bites was just like a commentary from Pennsylvania, New York.
It's a little tongue in cheek for sure.
You gotta love that.
Yeah, it's funny. We feel the same way about them.
Oh, well, after Saturday, but
they're drivers, definitely.
I'm not getting into that right now. But
left lane.
In any event, we're going to get into a lot of stuff that Pete does, but I want to ask him right now. Most importantly, what is he drinking?
Well, that's a good question. This was a new one for me. Farmers and Bankers. Have you guys been there?
Yes. I have not been there, but I've actually had several things from them at a couple of beer fests last year. We were pouring alongside them, and was fortunate enough to drink some of their stuff. And a few things that I had were pretty damn good.
Yeah, they're very good. This is their December Fest. So their Oktoberfest so popular, they made it again.
I had their Oktoberfest, and it was very good.
Yeah, it is very good. So, yeah, and I figured, you guys are lager room guys, so I had to start with a lager, right?
Yeah. And Dave is starting with a lager.
Wow. And John will be starting with a lager.
And I will be starting with a lager. I'm going to pour it right now.
That's energy right there.
There you go. Lager, 3 lagers in the lager room, guys, for the first beers. That's pretty damn good.
It's kind of a
pour this. I'm going to take my obligatory picture, of course. Over here.
He's going to do it. That way he's got the logo in the back there.
Screen in the background and the check-in later. So.
Yeah, pretty much do the same thing.
Exactly. So cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
Cheers.
The
camera's over here, isn't it? I feel the angle on my camera is very wide today for some reason.
That is tasty. And you know what? You know what's funny?
George Carlin.
Oh, he's hysterical. But you're right. The peanut butter, and it was actually just peanut butter and chocolate because it was a peanut butter cup. Is definitely playing with this. It's actually drying. It's actually drying it out.
Yeah, right now. I'm kind of enjoying what it did.
What it's doing, right?
Yeah, I may actually have another peanut butter and Ritz to have with this beer.
It's not bad at all.
It actually works.
So, and it's not the first time I've had this beer. I've had this beer probably 6 times in the last week. So
yeah, a couple times at the brewery.
I was actually helping them can it on Friday, and I had two of them while I was helping them can. So.
Yeah, and he told me he'd put you to work.
But in any event, it's really tasty beer. Have you been over by Bird's Mouth yet, Pete?
No, as a matter of fact, they're on my list. Probably this weekend I'm going to get there. I've been doing a series of articles on it's a year of drinking Jersey. So
cool.
Every month I do 4 beers, 4 different beers, do a little write-up about them. And it was all kind of in response to, the special ruling that came down. I don't know if we can mention it.
You can mention it.
Oh, no, we've talked about it ad nauseum.
We've talked about it ad nauseum on this show so far.
Sure. So, try to be positive about a response and just say, hey, look, here's some, this is the good stuff that'll go away if we don't change the rules. So, so I'm on, I don't know, I started in July. So, my January articles, they're all kind of themed, and this one's going to be kind of look back to 2022. So all the beers are going to be from breweries that opened in 2022. So that's neat. What the Farmers and Bankers was. Wild Air, and next weekend I'll go to Bird's Mouth and try a couple of their beers, and then I got to find another one before the end of the month. But I'm looking forward to trying it. And I worked at Fort Monmouth for 12 years, so it's kind of a little nostalgic to go back there.
Sure.
I told John and Andy it was extremely nostalgic for me because I used to shop there with my mom when I was a little kid.
Oh, really? At the
In that building where the brewery is.
Yeah. Now where is the brewery?
It's in the commissary.
Oh, it is
all the way in the back of Fort Monmouth.
In the back.
In fact, it's much easier to go down south of the Fort Monmouth entrance, like was it Wyckoff Road, and go down there along the back, like you're going into Oceanport,
right,
and then come in the back way there because it's right by that side street back there, as opposed to going all the way up 35 and then going in the main entrance, the main gate, because you got to go basically all the way to the back of
at 35 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I'm sure strictly enforced. I'm sure
probably very strictly enforced, especially now that there's a brewery there. I'm sure they're watching.
Yeah, but they're doing a lot in there. If you've heard, I'm sure you have. But Netflix is putting a huge facility in there, and there's going to be a lot of hotels and other entertainment. And Deal Lake Bar is going in the same. They're going in the commissary building too, from what I've heard. Anyway,
no,
they're putting another. They're putting another. I don't know whether to call it Deal Lake Bar there as well, or if they're going to call it another name. But the owners, the same company, the same owners, are going in there, and I think a creamery is actually going in the building, and that'll round out that building. So there'll be Bird's Mouth, a creamery, and a bar in that building. So that's interesting. That's the only building that's really there right now around that area, anyway. Because they're leveling a lot of that area, and then they're building up from there. It's going to take years, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting proposition of it, though.
Yeah, you go through them, you see all the red signs with the white X's on it for abandoned building. Those are all going bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yep. There's so many of them too. So, but it's gonna give way to something pretty damn cool. So,
yeah. Hopefully,
exactly. All right. So let's talk about you for a little bit. Let's ask you the question we ask everybody that comes on the show. To the first question, anyway, to the best of your recollection. What was the very first craft beer you ever had? Not beer, craft beer.
Wow.
It could be craftish, but craft beer.
Well, that's a good question. Now, I kind of got into beer because my ex-wife was from Michigan, so I used to go over there all the time. And my ex-father-in-law was very adamant about taking me out for a proper pint. So that's where I kind of learned, Coors Light is not the end-all be-all. And I think from that trip, when I came back, it was either Sam Adams Boston Lager or more probably Pete's Wicked Ale, which used to be my absolute favorite beer.
Oh, such a good beer.
It was a good beer. Really good. They were 1, 2, and probably, what did I say? No, actually, Pete's Wicked Ale was 4 for me, but Dave and I have said it before. Sam Adams Boston Lager were both of our firsts.
Pete's Wicked was in the top 5 for me. Definitely. Pete's
Wicked was in the top 5.
If it wasn't number 2.
Well, my number 2 was Harpoon.
That was my first ever IPA, but I don't know if it was. I'm pretty certain I was drinking Pete's Wicked before Harpoon IPA.
Sierra Nevada was probably my 3rd, and I think Pete's was my 4th in there. And then somewhere in there, and it could shuffle that around a little bit, I did have some Samuel Smiths.
Oh yeah, definitely some Samuel Smiths in there.
And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say, what, I had a Beck's Dark in the early '80s. I'm not counting that as a craft beer. But the Samuel Smiths, of course. But
I have to tell you what my first black lager was. My first Schwartz beer.
What was that?
Zingu,
very nice.
Zingu
out of Brazil.
Yeah,
that was good beer.
It is. It's a tasty beer. Wasn't Kostricher?
No, it wasn't actually. It was actually Zingu.
There you go.
Although I could go way back. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a craft beer, but I had a couple buddies who shall remain nameless who worked at Shore Point Beer Distributors, which was around the corner from my house. And we may or may not have obtained some. It was a stout. It wasn't Guinness, Whitbread or something like that.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think it was something like that, but we hated it. We're like, what is this for?
There you go.
Wonder if it's something that you would appreciate now, more than likely.
Probably. I mean,
because I actually hated Zingu when I first had it. We called it Amazon Swamp Water. But now I love the beer.
But now you love the beer. Yeah. Well, palates change, Yep. I mean, like the very first time I had, and I'm not talking Harpoon IPA because Harpoon IPA is an English IPA. So the first time I actually had like an aggressively over-hopped IPA was probably early 90s. And the first time I had it, I mean, I could have done a spit take, right? But I didn't. I swallowed it. I'm like, all right, well, it is. I'm like, what the hell am I drinking here? Grass? Now give me a handful of hops and I'll just eat them,
Yeah.
Right. So, palates morph. So
now I did have a Yingling. I did drink a lot of Yingling in college. I don't know if that.
Why not? Because according to the Brewers Association, Yingling is a craft brewery. So
yeah. Okay. So that
they are.
There you go. Yingling. Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Susquehanna University.
Susquehanna University.
Oh my God! The drive around Susquehanna, that curve of death. Oh my God! I've hit that turn way too fast too many times.
How do you know that?
Just I grew up in Central Jersey, so I'd be across the Delaware every now and then. My mom loved Bucks County.
Susquehanna is way across the Delaware.
Oh, I'm thinking. No, never mind. I'm thinking of another. Damn it. Another college entirely.
Oh,
that has a curve of death? Really? That's
Berg or something.
No. Oh, bother. I'll find it. But I do want to mention that there is a Whitbread Stout from London. So you're probably correct with that
Whitbread Stout. Yes, that's it. Whitbread Stout. Yep, that's it. That's what I was thinking of.
All right, didn't kill.
That was it. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, unfortunately, I could say the first time I actually had a Yingling was in the 90s. I had never had it before. Before it came to Jersey, I just never had the pleasure, if you will. I'm thinking of
Lafayette College.
Lafayette
22 takes a nasty wicked turn right around it.
Yeah, there's wicked turns all over the place there. Yeah.
And what was your just a quick aside? What was your what was the first brewery you ever went to? Anything counts.
Oh gosh, first brewery. I really got to think about that one. I don't know.
Yeah, he's in the same boat as me.
You don't remember what the first one was?
Yeah,
well, I can tell you right now, the first I'll use it technically. The first brewery I ever went to was with my parents back in, the 70s, early on, whatever, in Busch Gardens. Because technically they did have a brewery there, but it really wasn't, So short of that, the first brewery I ever was in, and this I do remember, it was in 1984 or 5. I was in Molson, up in
Molson.
You were not, because he was not old enough to drink at the time, so you had to go to Canada.
Kind of got to go to Canada, yeah.
I guess for me, it was Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis. I went to one buddy got married right out of college, and we took a tour of the brewery, and that might have been the first brewery I was ever in.
There you go.
I suspect my first was Weyerbacher.
Really?
But I'm not sure.
Interesting.
It may have been Weyerbacher.
Fair enough. All right. Cool. All right. So let's talk about Jersey Bites a little bit. Talk about what you do, and then we'll talk about Jersey Bites as in its entirety. Or what? Let's start with that. What is Jersey Bites? What does Deb do? Let's talk about that.
Well, it's basically an online magazine about the food scene in New Jersey.
Right.
That's it in a nutshell. I guess the philosophy is to highlight what's good. It's not a review site or anything like that. It's funny. She had started Jersey Bites for 3 years or so, and she said to me, we should have some craft beer articles, and I was like, that's a great idea. I know a bunch of people in the craft beer industry because I was into it, and then she kind of was like, well, I was kind of thinking about you. Me. All right. Well, so I started writing. It's got to be somewhere between 12 and 15 years ago, somewhere around there. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I still don't. Well,
don't sell yourself short.
Well, we have a really good editor. I mean, I'm not a journalist or anything, but my first interview, because I'd lived in Red Bank for a long time, so Basil Teas in Red Bank was basically my living room, and of course I got to know Gretchen Schmidhausler. So I said, well, I'll interview her first.
Sure.
And she was great. And during the course of the interview, I said, what'd you do before this? She said, I was a writer for the Asbury Park Press. And I'm like, she was very professional, and she was fine, but I must have looked like a complete idiot. But yeah, so that's how it started.
That's great. Yeah, Gretchen's great. She's been on the show a couple times, and we've talked to her a bunch.
We adore her.
She's wonderful people. Yeah. How long ago was that you were like basically had Basil Teas as your living room?
Oh God. So late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. My cousin actually worked there he was one of the chefs in the kitchen.
Oh, no kidding.
Owns his own place now up in Atlantic Highlands. Actually was partners in a bunch of other restaurants, but has his own place up in the Atlantic Highlands now, right across the street, kind of diagonally from Carton, actually. Kenny.
Basil's always had fantastic food. Always. And of course the beer is great. I don't even think they brew anymore. I think they finally got rid of that.
Well, what is it? Beer Vino now?
It's
Beer Vino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they whatever beer they have there's is contracted, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think.
I don't think any brewing's going on in the building right now. So, but yeah, hey, I mean, it is what it is. But Gretchen did a great job there when she was there.
Oh yeah,
it was fantastic. I loved going there. It was great. Cool. All right. So then, so now you've been writing about beer. For 12
about beer,
yeah 12, so like since the late aughts, if you will,
somewhere
in that neighborhood. Cool, that's great. So what are some of the what were some of, give me a couple your favorite things that you wrote about?
Oh boy. They're all you talk to brewers and they're all fun. I mean, there's very few that are duds, but
that's for sure.
There was an article I did about growing hops in New Jersey. That was probably as close to journalism as I really get. Like, I interviewed some people from Rutgers, the Jersey Fresh program, a bunch of different hop farmers, a few scientists who I had no idea what they're talking about, but and the idea was that New Jersey is really fertile ground for farming hops because it's a really high yield crop as opposed to growing grain. You're making much more per acre on hops. I mean, it takes like 3 years to get a hop farm going, but that was a really cool project. I learned a lot, and it was a good intro to hops. As I knew what they were for, but I just didn't know much more about it. That was a fun one. Some of the early ones, like interviewing Augie Carton when he first opened. Everyone laughs, right? You say Augie.
You've done. Whoa.
That's two.
Do not say his name again. Don't say his name again. He will magically appear.
Hold on. We'll explain why in a minute. But
okay.
Ed Meyer just said, "You guys are making me hungry and thirsty."
Well, then eat something and drink something, Ed. You're a capable human being. I know this.
So
continue. So Mr. Carton, you could say that, Mr. Carton.
Mr. Carton. It was just, he's an interesting guy. I mean, quotable, quirky. It was a great interview.
There's a lot of adjectives.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of
There's very many adjectives that can.
So opinionated, you can go keep going, but
nothing I wouldn't say to his face.
Oh no.
And Pete, that day you and I saw each other at Kane. About a half an hour after that, this was the crew that was hanging out at Carton, right there.
There we go.
Boy. Oh man,
that was a lot of fun.
That's a fun crew right there.
Yeah. So the five of us were talking, and I think myself, Dave, Al, and Matt got in 6 words.
Yeah, not each. Total.
Not each. Total.
I mean, the 6 words that's a lot. You almost hit double digits there.
Exactly.
That's pretty good. Yeah, the easiest interview ever, right?
Right.
He writes his own material, folks. And does his own stunts.
Yeah, this is for sure.
Yeah, he'll drunk text me ideas for stories all the time. Not all the time, but every once in a while. So he was fun. Oh, and now here's. Yeah, you guys were talking about this on your last show, and you see that?
There you go. Burnell. Yep.
So, and I'm going to be drinking this next.
I got to pick up some of that. Yeah, I got to pick up some.
But I interviewed Greg Dews, who was the brewer for Ballantine. Great guy. And he brought back the Burton Ale and the IPA, which was terrific. And I wish I could find it in New Jersey, but I don't see it anymore.
It was the first, when they first brought it back, it was in Jersey for I think 2, maybe 3 years, and then it hasn't been in Jersey since.
Yeah. I was disappointed because I really liked it. It was kind of a nice go-to for the price point. I think it was like $8.99 at the time.
Yeah, and
it had a little bit of oak, because they aged it in oak chips, not in oak tubs like they did back in the day. But and they kind of went the extra yard to. You guys talked about the Chico yeast and right. He had a story, and I can't remember what it was, about how they recreated the Ballantine yeast. But there was some science behind it. So that was a fun one. And then it's just, I don't know. It's all about the last one I just did,
The one you just did. Yeah, exactly. Right. That was the newest. And I do like what you're doing with the year in beer for Jersey. That's awesome.
Oh, it's been fun. It's kind of got me out to get to breweries. Like I never would have gone down to Woodstown because and why would you go there?
Yeah, why would you? Right, exactly.
Oh, well, it's a cool place.
You got the rodeo, but it's a long ways.
It's not near anything.
Right.
What's that, couch?
Not on the way to anything, right?
Exactly. No. Yeah.
Unless you're leaving the state on the Delaware Memorial Bridge, then it's a swing off.
It's a slight off, and that's exactly why I did it, because I work in Maryland sometimes, and on the way home, I said, well, I'm going to sneak in here and go to this. And I'm glad I did too. It's a neat little brewery there. So this whole project has kind of gotten me. I'm trying to force myself to try, because you can't drink all the beer in this state.
Not anymore. You can't.
It's very difficult. You used to be able to.
Yeah, there was a time where I could pride myself on saying I've been to every brewery in the state. It's not even close now.
There was a time.
It's really hard.
There was a time you could go to every brewery in the state in the course of one weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, almost. If you had someone driving for you.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could hit 3 breweries a day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Did you open your second beer before I opened my second beer?
I think I did.
Actually, you did, because I put 2.
You put 2 in. I did. Yeah. I've been finished for about 10 minutes. I just went over that. My second beer is actually from Untied. I'm going all Jersey lagers, Jersey dark lagers. Actually, this is Dada from Untied, Bohemian dark lager.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Bohemian dark lager.
Bohemian dark lager, and it's pretty dark.
That looks dark.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna take a sip. Ooh, it's got a nice nose. I like it. Very nice. Very nice. A little bit of And it says it's the name of the beer is Dada. It's from Untied. It says Bohemian Dark Lager, and then underneath it says Embrace Obscurity. Is that their tagline?
No, I think they might be talking about the Dada art movement.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe that's what it is.
It might be quite the obscure reference might be what they're talking about.
Yeah, because I mean the can label is, and you're talking about beer can art,
Yeah, that's Dada. I think that's Dadaism. I am not an art expert by any friggin' means, but
there you go.
I thought I knew a little bit about art, but that's a new one to me.
Okay, fair enough. But it is. I'm getting a little smoked, like a slight smokiness from this.
Really,
it's not a lot. It's on the finish.
Yeah,
just a little bit. It's dry. It's drying. It's drying a little bit. It might not be smoke. It's at the first taste was not like bacon or anything like that. It wasn't like our smoked show we did a couple weeks ago with John Hall.
Oh, that was fun.
But
I'm still coughing up smoke.
Oh, it was crazy.
That's
I guess it just the malts are coming they're getting a little bit more powerful as it fades, and then it dries right out. So maybe that's what I'm getting. But it's good. It's very good. I'm enjoying it. So anyway, that smoke beer show was good. That was crazy. All right. What else? All right. So now you're a self-proclaimed beer and history geek.
Okay.
Is it beer and history or beer history?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Beer history and beer history.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, like Debbie's son, when he decided to go to Gettysburg College for school, I was absolutely out of my mind.
Thrilled.
Now I've got ample excuses to go there. But yeah, so anything history though, but brewing history in New Jersey is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how many breweries were in Newark at one point?
Yeah.
126, I believe at one point there was
something around there.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it's just a shame that when you look at what happened with Prohibition and how that just only the big ones could survive because they were the ones that could pay off people so they could keep on. And it's just kind of, and that leads us into, where we are today.
Right. Well, you mean people pay people off to keep doing something? No, that never happens.
Doesn't happen.
Come on.
Have a little more faith in humanity.
But I mean, that's what I love about history, right? You can, we're living what happened during Prohibition. I mean,
we are. We quite literally are. To obviously a very lesser extent, but we're or more depending on how you look at it. Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I guess I mean it a little more obtuse than that. It's the rules that were put in place once Prohibition was repealed were put in by people who were who had an agenda.
Of course, that makes sense. Fair enough.
And so that's where we are today. I mean, it's that's why you have a limited number of liquor licenses in towns.
It's just ridiculously stupid. I've been, I'm how many times Dave will tell you that I've gotten on a soapbox. He's gotten on a soapbox. Our guests have gotten on soapboxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so ridiculous that we are still in 2023, still governed by a major amount of liquor laws that have been in place for 90 years unchanged.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you really kidding me? It's just so stupid. But I've said this before, and not to get into a deep conversation about it, we can if you want to, but I've said this before, I've said it on the show. I think in the long run, and I don't mean the long run 10 years from now, I mean the long run sooner than that.
Or the Eagles album.
Right, exactly. I don't mean either of those. I think in the long run, what happened last July is going to actually wind up benefiting the breweries because it opened the eyes of a lot of lawmakers and politicians and legislators.
I sure hope you're right about that. And that's a nice positive perspective. Yeah, it could be. It could be. You know,
they're already talking about it. They're already talking about actually putting in true legislation so that we can't be subject to a ruling again by a non-elected official.
Right.
Which should be a slam dunk, because that's ridiculous.
It should be. It should be a no-brainer that happens, because it's such an overreach on the part of the ABC. I mean, they're supposed to regulate alcohol consumption, production, and distribution in the state of New Jersey. They're not supposed to regulate the size of TVs. They're not supposed to regulate whether or not I can have an acoustic guitarist on a Tuesday night playing to 5 people in my brewery. They're not. What is that? What is that? What is that?
It is asinine. It's asinine.
And the only other thing I'll say about the fact that the matter is an analogy I came up with, and I'll get there really quick. Obviously, the Restaurant Association, a lot of people in it, and I do believe that I believe, and I could be wrong, and I'm not spreading any rumors or anything like that, but I believe that there's a larger entity behind the Restaurant Association. That
might be,
and it might be in Newark, it might not. I'm not sure, but whatever. Either way, the Restaurant Association getting upset that breweries want to serve food to people that could be potentially sitting at their bar drinking for 8 hours. All right. That's just ridiculous. But them getting upset that the breweries are may want to serve food. A restaurant getting upset that a brewery serves food. The analogy, it's the apples to apples analogy, is Staples getting upset that CVS sells notepads.
All I know is
I like that. That's good. Yeah.
I just certainly hope that Eddie's got himself a beer by now.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Let us know what you're drinking, Eddie, if you've got one.
Exactly. So, but yeah. So, like I said, I think in the long run, and hopefully that long run isn't too long. It's the short run. I won't say short run because that makes it seem like it's going to be in a couple months, right? It's going to take longer than that, and I know it is. But in the long run, I think the craft breweries in New Jersey will benefit from what happened last July, because it opened the eyes of so many people that can actually make law as opposed to one guy making a ruling.
Yeah.
Right? So that's all.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, we keep making beer. We keep making beer, and we keep making good beer. New Jersey's making really good beer. We're growing at a rate per capita faster than any other state. So have at it.
Well, I'm going to try a classic New Jersey beer, not made in New Jersey anymore. We'll see
for it.
Now, where is Valentine made now?
It's being made.
It's in the Midwest somewhere. I forget.
Yeah, it's been made in. I believe it's I believe it's the company that bought up all of the old breweries. Brought up Pabst. I think it's in.
Yeah, they bought up
Milwaukee. Yeah, they brought up Rheingold. They brought up Schaefer, Schlitz, all of the names.
Did they also buy up Hostess?
Possibly. It's the same.
That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful beer.
Yeah.
It's the same company.
That's a nice glass too. You got there.
I've got tons of these. You guys want some?
Sure.
Oh, we talked.
I'll do a trade with you.
I'm good with it. Yeah. Not that I need more glasses, but yeah.
that was one of the topics of discussion on our friend Tom's podcast that I was on, was the addiction to logo glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Dave, and I have a problem.
Yeah, I've had a problem too. But then it got crazy, and I just realized I just couldn't get a glass everywhere I went. So now I buy T-shirts or hats.
John does both of those.
I buy T-shirts, I buy hats, and I buy glassware. So
I'm just on T-shirts and glassware right now.
This is amazing. I've been sitting on this one for at least 5. I'm guessing 5 years. 2016.
2016. Okay, that was probably the last year, maybe 17 it came out, but I was going to say, I think it was 14, 15, and 16. It could have been 15, 16, and 17. I'm not sure. But I actually had draft of that. when
Really?
it came out. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
It was so good.
Wow.
It was really, really good. Yeah.
Oh,
But I believe it's actually, and not to taint our conversation, but I believe it's the parent company that actually owns the Four Loko brand too.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
It is. So, this is very tasty. The Suntide. This is very nice.
So I have another can open.
And your second,
third can, but second beer.
right? Which is that?
And I'm really appreciating the can art on this one.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, that is cool.
Right. This is Astronaut Apocalypse by one of John's favorite breweries, Martin House.
Martin House, absolutely. Yeah.
They do some funky stuff, but this is pretty much not all that messed with. Oh, I like the back of the can too.
That's very nice.
Guy back here, right?
Yeah.
This is a coconut imperial stout coming in at 12%. So I will probably start to slur within about 5 minutes or so. Because I've only had crackers and peanut butter for dinner.
There you go.
Oh my God, the coconut.
Very nice.
John, what's my favorite adjunct?
Coconut. What's my favorite adjunct?
Maple. And if I get to a third beer, it's got coconut
and maple. There you go.
And chocolate.
And chocolate. There you go. Now, is it was it conditioned on coconut, brewed with coconut? Is there?
I didn't look into it. I just read the can. I wanted to
You
appreciate
just read the can and
appreciate it.
That's it, right? I got you. Fair enough.
No, they say something here, but the text is about this big.
Love it.
And I'm about this old, so
there you go.
Being able to read this is oh no, that's the government warning. Never mind. I swear to God, it's the government.
I have several cans here I could read that on. I don't need to listen to yours.
I really thought they were describing the beer. No, it's actually
nice.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't really say. It just says Imperial Stout with coconut, made in Texas by Texans.
I see.
So we could never work for this brewery.
We couldn't.
We're not Texans.
We're not Texans.
We are not.
Well, you know what though? I think Tony.
We know a few Texans.
Alacron. Okay.
Alacron.
Our one of our he's been on several times. One of our regulars. He lives in far west Texas, Pete. But I'm pretty sure he knows people at Martin House, and I'm pretty sure if we went down there,
he put a word in for us.
He put a word in for us.
Well, then there's also Steve Nancaro.
Steve Nancaro as well, and several other people. But Ed Meyer just messaged a couple minutes ago. Well said. I'm not sure what he's referring to.
Neither do I. Maybe
something was well said, according to Ed. So.
Oh no! Wait a second.
At least well said.
We've got a commercial break. We'll be right back. Look over your shoulder, John. So I didn't know we took commercial breaks.
We took commercial breaks.
I didn't know we had commercials.
Right there. It says
Holy
it right
crap!
there.
Does that mean we're making money?
No. I wish.
I've never seen that screen do that.
It's on. The app that's running on the TV. When it's a national app, when there's a local commercial, it doesn't play the local commercial. It gives you that screen.
But that's the first time I've seen that. USB root using a different. I don't know.
I started using a different app over the because during the shows I started using a different app. But I mean, it's a sports app regardless. So there's always something sports playing in the background. Speaking of sports.
Oh, no.
Oh, here comes.
I had to segue at some point.
Do we have to talk about this?
Well, I mean, look,
cast.
Yeah, you know what? The craft beer. The sports podcast is tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is my sports podcast. So I will rant. I will go off on a tangent. I will scream. I will give all the poop emojis that I do on Facebook every Sunday.
Holy crap! I have not trolled the sportscast in a long time.
What did you say?
I haven't trolled the sportscast in a long time.
Those are very entertaining. Like I look for those at key moments. It's soothing
somehow, right? It's very entertaining, and I'll tell Pete. We've said this a few other shows, but I actually do run a John Fladung Giants rant over under. And the last game. There was 4 categories. The first category was poo emojis. That was set at 6.5. The reason set at 6.5 is John has this habit.
I actually have this that I use on the sports show every now and then.
But John has this pattern of when he does emojis, it's always in threes usually.
Okay.
Well, multiples.
Threes.
Yeah.
So then
it's more of a like more of an expletive to me to have three of them instead of one.
Yes.
Or two, so you get three.
So the second category was the face palm emojis. That was 9.5. It was an all emoji weekend. And the one thing I noticed is usually poo emojis are John's favorite. And this past game, poo emojis was absolutely his favorite. But this year, overall, his favorite emoji has been the cursing emoji.
The orange face with the
yes.
Yeah. And that I had a 12.5. He went over on poo emojis and that. But I had a fourth one because I ran it every single week. And I never told John this. He'll hear it now. But every single week, at 0.5 was any mention of Dable. He's never mentioned Dable on Facebook once this whole year. We thought he would do it this game, saying, "Hey, they didn't make it, but Dable, you did a good job." Never mentioned him.
Let's go back 6 years. I didn't stop mentioning McAdoo.
No, you didn't.
Okay,
it was at least 3 times a game.
Let's go back 4 years. I didn't stop mentioning Shermer. Let's go back 2 years. I didn't stop mentioning Judge.
So
Dable.
The good thing that you're not talking about Brian Dable.
Yes,
that's what he's saying.
Brian Dable is actually a coach. That's why I'm not talking about him.
But at least good job, or maybe he blew that call, or that was a great call. This never once mentioned him all season long.
I didn't see a lot of the Daniel Jones turnover machine meme.
No, I didn't. Well,
because he didn't have that many turnovers this year.
That was a lot less.
I thought, did you drop one? During the Philly game? Or no?
I did.
Oh, you did. I missed it.
I did.
And that exacted 3 cursing emojis and 3 poo emojis.
Right.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with it.
And you know what? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't Daniel Jones 2 years ago throwing the ball into the defense's secondary's hands, right? It was Daniel Jones trying to make something happen because he realized he was the only one on the field at that moment trying to do something. So,
yeah.
But as the
John gets taken over by his emotion.
But also as the entertainer that I am, I'm bound contractually to place that on Facebook whenever he does commit a turnover. So.
No, I totally look for it.
Pete, one of my favorite comments on because I do it as a Facebook group. One of my favorite comment is the person who actually won it. There was one game where the game's blowing up. The Giants aren't doing well. We're not hearing anything out of John. Dave Campanile puts out, "Can we get a wellness check over at his house?"
Well, the reason for that, Pete, was I was actually in Heinz Field watching the Steelers-Jets game.
No, it wasn't that week. It wasn't that week.
Well, that week also. I was watching the Steelers-Jets game, but I had the Giants game on my phone. So I'm watching the Steelers-Jets, and I'm looking down at my phone, and so I'm back this. So I wasn't using my phone to post. I was using it to watch the Giants game. I was at the Steelers-Jets game.
No, that week one of the over-unders, I think 1 or 2 of the over-unders had nothing to do with the game,
right?
Because we figured he wouldn't post a lot about the game. But there was one game we thought he would post a lot about. Nothing came out. So Dave,
was that the game I was? Was that the game I was at? Was it
no.
Was it the Texans game?
No. We thought you were home actually.
Oh. Well, then I must have been in an event or something to them.
Something was going on.
But anyway, back to the podcast. And sports. We're talking. Look, you both read my take.
Sports. You got who knows who this is?
That's a good question.
He's a Giant.
Y.A. Tittle. No,
it's not Y.A.
He wouldn't be. That's
a center.
Like a center.
Mel Hein.
He is a center.
Mel Hein.
There you go. Very well done.
Hold on.
Yep. Very good. Right. Don't throw your shoulder out, patting yourself on the back.
Anyway, in any event, you both read my wrap up for Saturday's game.
Oh no,
in the season.
TLDR.
It's an article, and
I'm joking.
It's on your website. Read it.
I'm channeling Gene.
All right. Pete, what's your take on the game? I'll just throw it out there.
The game.
The game.
Unmitigated disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen even a 2-score loss would have been, if they'd have stretched it out into a game, and it was over after the second possession.
It was quite literally, and this could have been something that I could have, called out Dable for, but it was over when Dable went for it on 4th and 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then doesn't go for it at 4th and 6 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. That was
it's just like you said, throwing in the towel.
Go the play before. He doesn't run it on 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones doesn't lose 5 yards to make it 4th and 8.
Actually, I really think the turning point of that game, and it sounds stupid, it's when Daniel Jones trips over his right tackle's foot.
Yeah.
Goes down, and they never recover from that moment. Their momentum was completely destroyed after that, and then they had to press because they knew that Jalen Hurts was going to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
No pun really intended, but because he has really come into his own. He is playing exceptionally well, and they've got some great players on that team.
They have great talent on Philly, and I said that I said that on the sports podcast. I started saying that since August. Philly was going to be the dominant team in the NFC East, but Dave Campanelle just said there was a game.
Oh, we were all commenting during the game. Dave, no.
Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, but no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Pete. Once they were down by 14, that was it. Game was over because they couldn't run the ball. They were having to throw the ball. They couldn't get the ball out. The offensive line, while much better this year, was not handling the defense pass rush.
Yeah,
and it was just forget it.
And you got to give the Philadelphia defensive coordinator a lot of kudos. They had a plan for Thibodeau.
Uh-huh.
Thibodeau was a non-factor.
He wasn't.
Game.
You're right. Yeah.
They need another linebacker. They need another linebacker.
Well, you know what though? An odd thing was that Landon Collins didn't take a single snap.
Nope. I don't know what that was about.
I don't know what that was about either. If they're running all over you, on running downs, he's got to be out there. He's a beast.
He's a beast. He's got to be out there, and he does as much with the run as he does with the pass.
Yeah. He's a little
safety. So
he's lost the step in coverage, but but he's not terrible.
No.
So that was an odd choice.
Better than what they had out there for most of the game at that point.
Yeah.
You would assume anyway. Who knows, right? But
moving on. Eagles or 49ers?
49ers.
Yeah.
I'm only going to say Eagles because I don't want that to happen, and things I don't want to happen a lot.
Thank you. Say Eagles.
Yeah.
All right.
So now, Cincy or KC?
Cincinnati.
I gotta agree.
I'm actually going to be rooting for Kansas City, but Cincy's winning because between what they have going on with the Bengals right now and Mahomes' ankle.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they haven't really been forthcoming about what's going on with that ankle.
Yeah,
and right now, is there a better 1-2 punch at running back than Mixon and Pirine?
No.
And very proud to say, because I'm a Sooners fan, that was the Sooners backfield at one point.
Yep,
those two guys.
Sure.
Jalen Hurts was also a Sooner.
I got to tell you this: Jalen Hurts. All right. Wasn't born the last time the Cowboys were in the NFC Championship game, which means that since the last time the Cowboys were in the
let's see if he's got the meme memorized.
The last time the Cowboys were in the NFC Championship game, Jalen Hurts was born, grew up, learned to play football, went to college, went to Alabama, transferred to Oklahoma. Sat behind Carson Wentz, got to play, and got to an NFC Championship game all before the Cowboys got back. How was that good?
I think you've nailed it. But also, no longer
because they paid Prescott, and he's not that good. I mean, he's not worth what they paid him. I don't think.
No, he's not worth what they paid him. He's not.
But 2 years ago during the draft, almost 3 years ago now, I think, John, I don't know if you remember this, I was screaming that the Giants needed to pick up CeeDee Lamb, that this was a playmaker, that his yards after catch, what he can do once the ball is in his hands, and he is one of those few wide receivers that catches the ball, then runs.
Yep.
Not a lot of them do that.
Yep.
He gets that ball in his hand and then he makes a move. He makes people miss. He is a freak on the field. I was screaming the Giants, and I almost broke down and cried when the Cowboys got him. I'm like, this is a special player.
Well, I'll be honest with you. CeeDee Lamb is a great player and definitely a playmaker and a difference maker for the Cowboys.
But who did we get?
The difference in the Cowboys passing game this year has been T.Y. Hilton.
Well, he's more of a possession receiver, right? Which keeps things going, or
right? Yeah, exactly. So, anyway,
but Hilton can get the ball because you've got to protect against CeeDee Lamb.
You got to exactly. That's my point, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, Pete, wrap up the season in your words for us.
Wrap up the season. I think it was. Here's what I'm thinking. The last 2 or 3 years, you got to midpoint in the season, and the Giants are like 2-4, or whatever they were, and you kind of go, if not for a play here or a play there or a mistake that didn't happen, man, they could be, they could have a winning record, 5-1 or whatever it is, and the difference was coaching.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They've never had, over the past few years, they've never had the talent, I don't think, to be a Super Bowl contender, but they certainly had the talent to be a winning franchise, which, now we know it was,
which was proven. Obviously, it was the coaching. Yeah, exactly.
Coaches. So, a total win. People say house money, and I would have liked to more competitive game against Philly, but that kind of was house money.
And couple weeks prior, they had given us all kinds of hope by the third string taking them on and playing them better than the first string did. And it's not like the game didn't mean anything to Philly. They were going to get overall first.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what happened there, but it was more than we could have asked for as Giants, and we certainly have. We got the right GM and the right coaching staff. Now, I hope we don't lose any coaches. We might lose Kafka.
We're going to lose anybody. We're going to lose Kafka. But I was worried about this.
They all stay.
I think they all stay. I think Kafka and most likely Martindale, but definitely Kafka, are both going to get a chance to be a head coach at some point. But I don't think it's this year.
Yeah, and for them to be here 1 year and done, it's kind of like there's unfinished business. I would, you would think that they would want to see this through a little bit, but we'll see. But the biggest problem is going to be keeping the gang together.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, how do you pay Saquon? How do you pay Daniel Jones at the same time? And then there's all these guys on defense, and
and there's still tools you still need to insert.
And still need pieces we need still. Yeah, absolutely.
Roster spots you need to fill. So, but I think it's the right guys. I definitely Gettleman. Gettleman's problem was he made a couple of good picks. He made a couple of good moves, but he started spending money to try to save his job. What a disaster.
You're in New York.
Yeah. June 1st, he's gone. Who knows if he'll be playing football next year?
That's true.
Yeah. He may be doing a podcast with Plaxico Burress next year.
I actually met Plaxico Burress once. It was a couple years ago at a high school football game. They were he was doing an appearance with Otis Anderson, OJ. And you couldn't pick two different guys.
Oh, hell yeah.
Otis was an absolute blessing. And And Plaxico Burress was just standing there wondering when somebody was going to ask him about shooting himself in the leg. Didn't want to be there.
I actually know both of them. I've met OJ Anderson twice, and Plaxico I know. If he walked up right now, he'd say hi, John. He knows.
Would he really?
Yeah. But what you call it? He's definitely to himself and doesn't really talk a lot. But actually, I actually had to stop by somewhere and have my son with me, and I was walking up and he was sitting there, and I said, Jonathan, this is Mr. Burris. Plax, this is my son, Jonathan. Jonathan, why don't you tell Mr. Burris how you're a wide receiver when you play football too? And I walked away. And I came back 10 minutes later, fully expecting to see my son on his phone being ignored, right? He was talking to him and like for another 10 minutes. I'm like, who are you? And what did you do with Plaxico Burris?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But you're right, though. But OJ is, he'll talk to you all day. I had so many conversations with him. He's a great guy.
Okay. Let's wrap up the sports section of this.
Yeah, I was
probably do that. This is about beer.
With Super Bowl champ pick, and then we'll move up back to beer.
There you go. Because I got to open my third right now while you're picking it. Pete, you go first. You're the honor.
Oh man. Well, I'm not picking Philadelphia. I don't know. This is a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pick 49ers. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. 49ers.
If I owned stock in Crisco, I'd want Philadelphia to be the champs because you've got a Crisco up the light bulbs.
All the light bulbs, right?
But I'm rooting for the 49ers from here on out. Main reason being is seeing Mr. Irrelevant lead his team to the Super Bowl championship would be something glorious, historic, and something that'll never, ever be repeated.
Yep, I got to agree with you. And I'll tell you mine right now. I'm rooting for the 49ers.
But I think
specifically because of that reason. But the Super Bowl is going to be 49ers and Cincinnati, and Joe Cool is winning.
And I think since he's winning it, but I'm rooting for the
third time lucky. It'll be the third time that Cincinnati played San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Third time lucky. So there you go.
That was a very close call. I love both stories. Right? I'd love to see Joe Burrow win a Super Bowl. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just
So we're
an unengaged observer now.
Right.
So where were we with beer? We were talking to Pete about beer history, correct?
We're talking about Pete about beer history, and we were.
We got derailed because we started talking about prohibition. Then we got into the special ruling.
Right.
You want to bring it back to Pete to beer history, Pete?
Let's bring it back to beer history. Yeah. So,
and the reason I want to do that is because every day when I go into the city, when I come back, I get off the bus, I walk past a sign right around the corner from where I live that commemorates the William C. Buell Brewing, which at the time, it's now Union City. At the time, it was considered West New York. And this was a pre-prohibition brewery, 1916 to 1920, apparently. Wow, I see the sign all the time.
Huh.
And it's really kind of cool. And I look at the building, and the building is, I don't even know what they do in that building anymore, but it's kind of a cool building. And I'm assuming it's the original building. Not a lot gets rebuilt here. So that's pretty cool. How many of the old breweries are you familiar with, know the history of, other than say Ballantine?
Oh, geez. Yeah, put me on the spot there. Well, I mean, Kruger, one of the iconic Newark brands.
Yep.
Weren't they the first to can? Was it them?
Kroger was. Yep.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm.
It's very cool.
Yeah, there's a couple iconic ones then in the Camden area too. That was kind of another sub, area of brewing. But yeah, there's Ballantine. There was, I don't know. Yeah, it's I can't even think of them all.
There were so many. really need to delve into the history of all the breweries that were here at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was some, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's quite a few years ago. But they did write a book on North Jersey breweries. But it could use a more in-depth study for sure.
Because I think we've, especially when we were talking about that special ruling, we've kind of, lost what this state was to beer.
Yeah.
Right. There was a time we had the most breweries in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because so many of the immigrants would land here.
Yeah.
Or New York City.
They would land in Ellis-on. They would go to New York and they go to New Jersey. And a lot of the ones that brewed came to New Jersey. So it was,
because there was the room to do it.
Newark and Brooklyn were like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever saw the Colin Quinn thing about New York City, where he talks about, like, we're so arrogant that we make bagels and we tell people you can't make bagels like us because you got the wrong water.
He's right.
But he's right. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Like the water that was coming down off the Watchung Mountains. I mean, that's why all those breweries were there, was to use that water. And you guys know how important water is to brewing. It's 4 main ingredients, and it's 90%
of it.
It's literally the most important ingredient.
Yeah. So,
and I feel bad for breweries and brewers that just don't understand this, don't know how to treat their water. And you can go into a brewery and you'll know immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to name them, but there's a couple in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. It's not as common as it used to be.
True, because it's
people have learned a little. As the newer breweries have opened up, they were either opened up by people that knew, that was important, or at least got schooled on it early on and figured it out and dialed it in.
I mean, I can name one because they don't exist anymore. Demented never treated their water. The beers showed.
Mm-hmm. Whatchamacallit. On that note, let's talk about that really quick. You talk about beer history in New Jersey. Instead of going all the way back to the teens and the 20s, just like prior to 2012, let's even go prior to 2010 or 2009 or whatever, 2009. Original, of the new breweries in New Jersey, the original, the OGs. You had, obviously, we all know who claims to be the first.
IPAs are a fad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
IPAs are a fad. They'll never go anywhere.
And you got Flying Fish. You got River Horse. You got Ramstein.
Cricket Hill.
You had Heavyweight. Heavyweight's gone.
I just had a conversation with some buddies the other day about Heavyweight. And I don't know about the whole state, but certainly in our geographical area, they changed everything.
They did. Tom knew what he was doing.
Oh, Tom knew what he was doing, and you guys probably went to the open houses. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
When you couldn't sell beer in your brewery, and back there taking cash for stuff. I guess I can say that now. Statute of limitations is over. But they were so much fun, and then people would bring bottles. Home brewers would come with bottles. They'd share. You'd taste beers. It kind of gave you a foreshadowing of what, like, the craft beer community can be.
Right. Absolutely did. Definitely.
Such a great community too.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. That was phenomenal. Like what he did there. And one of my, and Dave will tell you, one of my favorite beers he brewed was Stick and Jab.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he won't stop talking about it.
I had Baltic Porter. I'm trying to remember where I had it just recently, and it reminded me of Peter Culos Hammer. That was
right.
Other.
Yep. Yep.
The only Baltic Porter that John and I could find this weekend was at Bradley Brew Works.
Because it was Baltic Port National Baltic
Oh,
Porter
that's
Day
right. Oh, that
on Saturday.
Yeah. It was Baltic Porter Day.
On Saturday was Baltic Porter Day. That's a day.
It's a thing.
I didn't know.
It is the third Saturday of every January.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was a great beer. And what were we talking about?
We were talking about older breweries in New Jersey. Well, Heavy Rail, yeah, and then
the OGs, yeah. So Flying Fish. They were doing stuff. That whole Exit series.
Yeah,
there were some great beers in that Exit series.
Those were great.
Mm-hmm. Exit 1, I think, was my favorite. That was their Oyster Stout.
The Oyster Stout. I like the. I forget what exit it was, but it's the Rutgers exit. The Scarlet Knight.
10. Yeah. That turned into Redfish, and I love the fact that they took one of those that was so well received, made it one of their 12 ounces, but I just don't think Redfish lived up to what Exit 10 was.
Oh no. They dumbed it down.
Yeah.
But I loved Redfish. I used to drink. I mean, that was a great afternoon in the summertime barbecuing.
Yeah, nothing against Redfish. It just wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Exit 10.
It wasn't the same beer.
No.
So I did open my third, John.
I opened mine about 10 minutes ago.
All right, I gotta go. I'm not leaving. I'm just going to get a beer.
Go for it.
I can still hear
you. What's your third one, John?
My third one is it's a collab between the Seed and Human Robot.
Oh, that is a beautiful thing right there.
It's called As Simple as Nightfall.
With a question mark.
With a question mark, yeah. As simple as Nightfall? All right. That's what you got to say. It's a dark spelt lager.
Oh. How many of those did you get?
One, and it was given to me by Mr. Algatulo. So
Damn it.
I didn't even get it myself. So
here's another conversation changer here. Brew Jersey. This is for my local guys, Last Wave, who are a 3-minute walk from my house.
And this is also the subject of your last article.
Mm-hmm.
On Jersey Bites.
I did 4 different versions of the Brew Jersey.
Cane, Carton, Wild Air. What was the fourth one? Cane, Carton, Wild Air, and I can't remember the fourth one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You didn't do Last Wave?
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't.
I didn't do Last Wave.
Icarus.
Yes, you're right.
Icarus.
I wrote it. I can't remember it. I didn't.
It's like every email I've ever
written. While you're pouring that, I do want to talk about Brew Jersey, and then we'll get into the top 3. But while you're pouring that, I do want to say, as far as the OG goes, while he was out, OGs go in New Jersey.
One's
gone, right? Very similar situation that what Tom was doing down at Heavyweight was actually happening at Cricket Hill too, up in Fairfield. There was plenty of home brewing going on.
Oh yeah,
and they were bringing a lot of homebrew beers. Were making their way into the brewery every Friday night tour, and I use air quotes around that. And
the tour,
the tour. And
that was a dinner show.
That was a dinner. Yeah, it was right. It was dinner and a show. Yeah, and it was Rick giving a speech, and that they were something to behold. If you've never seen a Rick Reed speech, you don't know what you were missing. And I don't know if you're going to get it anymore, but you can
go to YouTube and Google Cricket Hill
watch
Rick.
Him,
You'll be afraid for his life because he gets so red in the face you think he's going to have a heart attack.
Right. But in any event, a lot of those home brews, and that was the thing about Cricket Hill, and that was one thing about Rick Reed, and he definitely did this, was a lot of those home brewers and a lot of those home breweries, when they brought them over there, if they were solid, substantial beers, they actually worked with them, and they gave them credit and everything else, and they actually brewed the beer, and they became a beer at Cricket Hill.
So I've always wondered how many breweries were spawned from those events.
Yeah, absolutely. And it had to be many.
But we know MASH spawned a few breweries.
MASH, right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wales spawned a few breweries, and one I can think of in particular. But,
is it on your head?
It might be, but in any event, but yeah. So let's talk about Brew Jersey. So let's talk about this.
Before we get there, I did open my third.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, you did.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So, but there's for beer can appreciation. I drank 2 12s. You guys have
you drank 3 12s.
I drank 3 12s. That's correct, but two different. We've had a couple 16s in there.
I've had 2 16s and a 12.
Yeah, but let's give a little love to the half pint.
The 8-ounce can. Yeah, I have one of them. I picked up.
I love those.
This is so cute. If I can turn it the right way, because I'm looking at the camera. So this is Ammo Can, Charlie 1. See, you see the maple syrup there, John?
I do.
So the brewery, I can't remember the brewery's name right now. Oh, it's Forgotten Road Ales.
Forgotten Road, right?
Yeah, Forgotten Road has got a very militaristic logo, don't they?
Slightly.
It's just a little bit. And yeah, maple, cacao, and coconut.
Interesting.
12.2.
And that's why they only give you 8 ounces of it.
Yeah, so I'll sleep well.
Which is smart.
Yeah. So this is I blame this on Potensky.
I blame a lot of things on him.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to blame on Potensky, but I can't blame my alcoholism on him.
No, that happened a long time before. Before you even knew him. So.
Yeah, maybe before he was born, because he's kind of young. At any rate, but he reminded me of a little service called Tavor.
Sure.
Oh, geez, and they're evil because they just keep I've got to turn the notifications on my phone off.
I did that a year ago. I said it before. I did that a year ago because I would spend every 3 weeks. I'd be spending $100 on beer coming in a box from Tavor. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not drinking it all. It's sitting here and I'm wasting money. What am I doing? So.
Oh, the problem is I'm drinking it all. But I did get an Abraxas.
Nice.
And
Abraxas is a good beer.
And a Dissident.
Nice. Very
but
nice.
It's an aged Dissident.
Really?
I forget what year it is, but it's an older Dissident, and I am so looking forward. Sometime in February, there is we're all about the observances and all that. One of my favorite observances, and Gene would love this observance as well. It's called Open That Bottle.
That's a good observance.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that bottle that you've been sitting on for a special occasion, screw it. There's a day that says open that bottle. Open it on that day.
There you go. Well, I
can't get that date for you guys. Hold on.
Well, if you get that date, if it happens to be a weekend, and it happens to be a weekend, I'm not doing anything. I have a couple of bottles that you might be interested in too, and we might be able to open the 2 of them with some other stuff together.
Oh yeah, there's the 2 that we bought together. Right, those.
Those are those. Huh?
It is a Saturday. It is February 25th. Is Open That Bottle night.
All right. Well, if you're going to open it that day, I will not be able to partake because I'll be in Asheville, North Carolina. So.
Well, maybe I'll just hold on to this and then open another bottle.
There you go.
I got a lot of bottles that are that bottle.
So, don't we all?
Too many.
And
too many.
And my problem is that you do need somebody, especially those cork and cage bottles. You really need somebody else to drink it with.
I need 3. It's a 750. I need 3 other people. I can't. I need
at least 2. Well, I mean,
or you could do it with 2. I don't want to. I don't not 2 others like 3. You can do it with 3. I don't want to do it with 2 because then I'm having 13 ounces of whatever ridiculous 20%, 16%.
But it's not even that. It's like you want to have a conversation about it.
Yes, right. That's the big part.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can do the whole thing, and
of course we can all drink the whole damn thing ourselves. I don't want to,
but
it's
But I'm sitting there and I'm going, I'd like to talk to somebody about this.
Right, exactly. 4 people on a 750. That's perfect. I've said this on the show before. The best thing, not the best thing. One of the many. One of the best things that Kane did when they first released Wooden Cleat 2 years ago
Oh,
They put it in 250 milliliter bottles. Just over 8-ounce bottles.
Yes.
That was perfect. 2 people, 4 ounces plus each. Perfect.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was a perfect bottle.
John, this is a beer you and I could both agree on.
Mm-hmm.
That maple is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and that coconut works with it.
Works with it. Very nice.
I never thought that maple and coconut could exist well in one beer.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was shocked when you said that was the beer, but
no,
cool.
This works. I'm going to need an insulin shot after it.
Don't tell me there's lactose in that. Don't tell me.
No, there's not.
It's just a lot of maple syrup and
yeah, I think it's the maple, and I think it probably tastes sweeter than it actually is
because of the maple syrup. Sure.
Well, and coconut throws sweetness
A little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is yummy.
Very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
I'm glad I got 2 of these.
Very nice. Did you now?
There's someone else I got to share it with. Sorry, John. Actually, she doesn't like sweet stouts, so maybe
Recruiting now.
There you go. Right. Exactly.
It's like we all know that there's certain things that you're not.
No. You don't have to go there. I know. So anyway, all right. So Brew Jersey.
Yeah.
Brew Jersey. You wrote your article about 4 of them. Yeah, you
was
did.
it like last week?
It was right in the beginning of January. Yeah, somewhere in there.
So it was Kane, Carton, Icarus, and what was the other one?
And Wild Air.
And Wild Air.
Yeah. Since then, I've tried a bunch more.
Mm-hmm.
Probably up to 7 or 8 now. I've tried.
Do you have a favorite?
It's kind of hard to. I wish if I could taste them all at the same time. Yeah, because fairly the same recipe.
Right.
I like the Wild Air one though. That one kind of stuck out. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. Oh, I got a low battery. They're all pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like what you pointed out that Carton Brewing has for a while brewed the Jersey IPA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As if it's a thing. They love making up styles.
He's
Don't say the name.
I won't say it, but
Mister.
They definitely feel that that's a style.
And I don't disagree, but the reason they call it the style, and it's really endemic to Carton, the fact that they let. We didn't say it 3 times. You can't do that.
Well, that's why he didn't really appear. It was just a picture.
But the reason it's endemic to them is their version, and you mentioned this in your article. And Pete, I got to say, I really enjoyed that article. Is the fact that to them the Jersey IPA includes that Kolsch yeast,
right,
which gives a lightness and a brightness to it. And as you said, that's one of the key components of what makes boat. And I think I've had boat once,
or twice, right?
Or about 850 times. No, I'm not even kidding.
By the way, he's not kidding. He had it like 850 times.
I've checked it in on Untappd about 850 times. So him not inventing, but exclaiming that this is the Jersey IPA because it's brewed with Kolsch yeast,
right?
And then applying that. So even though it's the same recipe, he took his play on it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did. And that is true. I mean, the water profile that he uses there, that they use there, not just him, they use there. It's not a one-man shop there by any means.
No.
No. And using that Kolsch yeast for his, East Coast or New Jersey IPAs, it's amazing. It's really, 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 really tasty.
Well, and they pull their water from the water table, which has got a slight salinity to it.
Yep.
And that's why but it's his rule. They will never brew boat or ODub anywhere else except there because of that water.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We're back to the water conversation.
back to the
Right.
water.
But it's important, and there's a reason for that, right? So, but anyway, so go ahead, Pete.
Oh no, I was just saying it, but for him, it's the water that's that's available there in Atlantic Highlands. But if you go up north to the Watchung Mountains or south, it's a different animal.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
It's the whole reason High Point Brewing is where they are.
Or a beer style, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that would be. Something caustic and astringent. I don't know.
Well, we've joked around about hops being grown in New Jersey and hops taking on the terroir of where they're grown. So they're either going to taste like smokestacks or pork roll or Taylor ham. You live in pork roll, so we're going to say pork roll. Or one of the two. So
bitter disappointment,
bitter disappointment. Smokestacks, pork roll, or bitter disappointment, right?
Or car horns. If car horns had a flavor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw a meme. It was a picture of New Jersey, and it had dark blue to the north. And this is sports kind of again.
I've seen the same one. I know where you're going.
Dark blue to the north, a little lighter blue in the middle, fading to a little lighter green in the middle, and then dark green to the south. And in the top it said, dark blue, Dallas sucks. Lighter blue, Dallas sucks. Light green, Dallas sucks. Dark green, Dallas sucks.
John, we have fans in Texas. Come on.
Finally, something we can, yeah. Finally, something New Jersey can completely get on board with. But no, we do have people watching in Texas. So, but we do have people that we've had on the show from Texas that don't like the Cowboys.
Well, there you go.
They say when Dallas loses, America wins. So the comment when I checked this beer in, the comment I made, because so many times you've seen people take donuts and turn them into beer. This beer should be a donut.
There you go.
A maple glazed chocolate donut with coconut flakes across the top of it.
I like that. I think I've had that actually.
That's what this beer is.
I think of that. Yeah.
That's what this beer is. This is I'm enjoying this.
There's a lot of donut shops up in Boston. Ironically, there's a lot of different donut shops up in Boston, and one of them is Blackbird Donuts. And I actually do believe that I've had a maple glazed chocolate donut with coconut.
Wow.
I actually do remember having that at a Blackbird Donuts up in Boston. So
Portland's got a few good donuts.
And they make one really quick just because I mean we did talk about Jersey Bites, so there was little food in there a little bit. So I'm gonna throw this out there that Blackbird Donuts, they actually make an everything bagel donut. Okay. So it's a donut that they coat with everything bagel seasoning, right? And cut it down the middle and put cream cheese in it.
This is in Boston?
In Boston.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, if you go on,
so there's no bagel at all in it. It's a donut with everything bagel and cream cheese.
Right, because they can't do a bagel, so they've got to disguise it, right?
Right, exactly.
If you go on to Jersey Bites, you go to the best of. There is best of donut shops in New Jersey. So
there you go.
I didn't even know that. But I only write about the beer.
See, I did my research.
You are true.
Oh God, I'm anything but.
There you go. So, all right. So Pete, we'll wrap up Brew Jersey by saying, tell us about what Brew Jersey was for.
Well, I think it still is for, right?
Is for.
Okay,
was created for.
All right.
I'm like it's still around, John.
Was created for. Came up with. The idea came up with for guys.
John's in his third beer.
It was started by Icarus, right? They were the impetus behind it.
Icarus was the impetus?
Yeah.
Say that fast 5 times.
That's almost Dr. Seuss right there. That's awesome.
Handling some Dr. Seuss, but yeah, no, that's good. I'm going to write that down. Yeah, I think it's 25% to benefit the new. I'm going to get this wrong now. Which Brewers Guild is it? It's the
Brewery Strong.
Yeah.
No, it's not Brewery Strong. It's
get it right, because the two don't always get along.
I know. It's to benefit a Brewers Guild in New Jersey.
It's to benefit. Right. It's to benefit the Brewers Guild that Icarus is a part of.
Right.
There you go.
Which, and that's a whole other conversation. Why we have two, I don't know. But I do know, but I don't.
I'll use one word to describe it: ego.
Quite possibly. I mean, there's two different. There are. I don't want to get into it, but there's two different models. Yeah. One represents one business model, one represents the other. Either way, we both want them to succeed. But anyway, so Brew Jersey is to benefit
the Brewers Guild of New Jersey.
It's the Brewers. Yeah, I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't sure. I did have the Valentine, so a little murky. So
and everybody, he pre-gamed the show.
This is true. He's had more beer than Dave and I have.
Full disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's it's in response to what we were talking about earlier about the decision handed down by the ABC. So they're raising money to fight that, and I think it's a pretty good cause.
And lawyers' fees are expensive.
Lawyers are expensive. Lobbyists are expensive. It all costs money, especially in New Jersey.
Especially in New Jersey.
But and
where everything's above board.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think change is possible. I'm hopeful like that, like John is. And so
I'm hoping
when you see Brew Jersey, pick it up.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely pick it up. It's look, it's going to benefit a lot of good causes. It's going to go, it's going to show your support for what's going on in New Jersey and what's going on with the legislation that's needed and the breweries that are so, needing the support of people. And thirdly, it's a really good beer. So you're not going to go wrong by buying it. So you're going to be.
They all have a little, they all, each brewery kind of tweaks them, but they're all pretty good. I mean,
sure.
They were smart. It's a style that everybody loves. You can see it's hazy. It's it's not overly bitter. It's easy to drink.
Well, this is now
to borrow a tagline from my other favorite state for beer, Maine. Do what's right.
There you go.
Like that. Now this is in Jersey the third time we've seen something like this. The first two were the first one was global altogether, right?
Right.
That was for the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
To raise money and support everybody in the brewery industry during the pandemic
and the service industry.
Service industry, yes, wasn't just the breweries; it was the bars, distributors, everything,
restaurants, everything. Yeah.
And the next one we saw was Black is Beautiful, which was national.
Which I actually still have a couple of cans of sitting in my fridge.
From whom?
I think I have one left from Trillium.
Trillium's, I gotta say, because I lived up there during that time, and Trillium's, I was so excited about it that I think I set it up to only disappoint me.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be fantastic.
Well, I had two of them. I had one, and I'm sitting on one, and then I actually just went through some cans, and it was sitting there. So I'm like, I wonder how this is going to be. So I'll have to. It's not one that I'm going to have certainly alone. So I'll have to have that at a share at some point.
But now we're seeing this in Jersey. Everyone gathering together to fight an injustice. Okay, not as big of an injustice as what Black is Beautiful was brewed for.
Sure.
But still an injustice. So it's really good to see everyone pulling together, getting this done,
right.
And hopefully it'll help put some backing to help exact change.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay. I think we should go to our top threes. What do you think?
Our top threes.
I
What would
think-
they be? Are you going to do the whole spiel of why we do a top?
I'm gonna. Well, we talked about it earlier, so I'm gonna let Pete in on it. Okay.
Explain
So
it to Pete.
We talked about 1933, right? The repeal of prohibition. Okay. So the reason we do top three list is because when we first started this podcast 2.5 years ago, it was just Dave and I for the first maybe
We had no guests because no one
6 or 8 weeks. It was just he and I.
Because no one liked us.
It was just he and I. So
we're pretending like anyone likes us now.
Right. So we decided to do a top whatever list, and we decided 3 would be the number. We pay homage to 1933, the repeal of prohibition. So 33, 2 threes, he and I, 2 top 3 lists. There you go. Right?
So now it's 333.
And then the reason, the other reason was because the top 10 list would take too long, because even with the top 3, Dave usually goes 5 or 6, and I usually go 4 or 5. So, but
I'm sticking to 3 this time.
I am as well. So
this was a hard one.
So tonight's top 3 list is. Hold on, I actually dropped the ball.
Oh, you didn't put one up there?
No, I did.
You lost it?
No, I did. I forgot to actually paste it. So there we go. So tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite places we get our beer news from.
And we will forgive John for ending a sentence in a preposition.
Right. Now I was going to say, so in the true sense of writing, hold on. I'm actually going to change this right now.
Top 3 places from which we get our beer news.
Well, to be fair,
can I do it first, or did you have to beat me to it?
No, I got to beat you to it.
Top 3 favorite places from which we get our beer news.
There we go.
Okay.
And in John's defense, that's exactly how I said it to John when I was walking up 24th Street, getting lunch at work today.
And not only that, a lot of writing principles over the last decade or so have kind of gone out the window. There's a lot of people that will end sentences in prepositions. You'll see headlines in newspapers with ending in prepositions. So
I have a feeling we have 3 grammar Nazis sitting right here.
There you go.
Not me. Our answer for Jersey Bites is
top 3 favorite places from which we get our beer. No, but top 3 favorite places we get our beer news.
Mr. Healy might be right. Mr. Healy may have corrected us even to the next level. He is absolutely correct.
From whence we got our beer, only if it was past tense. From whence we got our beer news from.
No. Whence is not is it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So,
okay, so screw.
By the way, Jim is partners in a really good brewery. I just want to let you know.
I've heard that.
There you go. There you go. So top 3 favorite.
Did you have to tie him to a chair and waterboard him to get him into that? Okay.
There you go. Top 3 favorite places we get our beer news from. Anyway, Pete, kick it off. What are your 3?
Well, Jersey Bites.
Oh, you forgot to put the caveat in there.
The caveat is this. Nothing that we write. So nothing from Jersey Bites, nothing from Beer Samurai, nothing from the Lager Room, nothing that any of us have written. Other than that.
I agree with you 100%. But the only reason I say it is because it's not really actually Jersey Bites is really not up to the minute beer news, and it's focused on New Jersey, not the country. But I do get an awful lot of press releases, so I hear about a lot of stuff. So that's the only reason I'm saying that.
So I'm going to give you. So let's call that your honorable mention. The press releases that you
for
get
being a writer for New Jersey Beer Bites.
There you go.
Hence, whence, whose, wouse.
I don't know where we are.
For Jersey Bites. There we go. Okay, so that's your honorable mention. Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
Oh, I'm still up.
You're still up. Yeah.
Oh crap. Okay. Let's. All right. Well, podcasts. Do they count?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Podcasts. Now there's a couple that I listen to, so I'm gonna throw. I'll throw 2 podcasts out.
Sure.
Steal This Beer. Who?
Please don't say
I say John Hall. Yeah.
John Hall is a wealth of information.
Actually, John Hall is great. He's a true journalist. There's another guy on that podcast. I can't remember his name, but John Hall. So we'll say Still Is Beer with John Hall, and I don't know if you guys were going to get a mutual friend, right? Al Gattulo's Beer Cast.
Sure.
Yes, I've appeared on that.
Yeah, so that's
John as well. John as well.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Now I got to do a third one. Well, there's and we're talking national here. So
anything.
I'm New Jersey focused.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you can be Jersey focused too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a research tool a lot, but I mean, just social media in general. You get if you're connected to the various Brewers Guild, and I'm talking national ones, your state one, whatever it is, that's really one of my primary sources. So
that works.
All right,
that's me.
There you go. All right,
I can figure out how to write that out into our.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Social.
There you go.
Media.
Get connected to your Brewers Guilds. Your national. The national ones, your state one, whatever you're interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Dave, how about?
I'm gonna go with the Facebook group.
Fair enough.
One of my favorite Facebook groups.
We're going 3, 2, 1.
There's no order here.
Anyway, no.
They're all different. So this Facebook group was Beer Drinkers United. And what I love about Beer Drinkers United is it was international.
Mm.
You got news from drinkers from all over the world. I met a lot of friends there. Tom Mulvihill, I met him there. Stuart Picard, Starodumsky, Chuck Triplett. So many people I met off of Beer Drinkers United. So I've got to go with that Facebook group. Got a lot of news from there. Like I said, it was international. So you got news from everywhere. That was one. I'm going to go with one that's now kind of sadly defunct, and that was Ale Street News.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew, the generation that's coming into drinking today, or even, just yesterday, even 10 years ago, so friggin' spoiled, right? They can just go on the internet. They can follow a particular brewery, bar, whatever. They know what's coming out. Back in the day, we had to go into a place that had good beer, grab this newspaper-looking thing, open up, and actually read through it to find out what was going on in the state for beer. And Ale Street News they were a pioneer, because then you got the New England Brew News or something like that.
Right.
Stop saying names of everything, because you're going to leave me with nothing. You prick.
I keep telling them, then go second.
Yeah, I'm going second next week.
Stop trying to be the anchor. And number 3, and you mentioned John Hall earlier because he's involved in my third, and that's All About Beer. All About Beer. They put out some great information. And there's so much. And what I also love is that they'll bring out just a lot of the social impact involved in beer as well. So it's a very, very thoughtful place to go get your information on beer, not just what's going on, not just what's coming out, but also the impact that beer has on the country. So those are my 3, Johns. I'm not even doing an honorable mention, but I kind of sort of did, didn't I?
You did many.
Only the New England one.
There you go. Okay. Since Dave's list was mine, completely, all 3, completely, 100%. Beer Drinkers United, Ale Street News, All About Beer. Yep. Since Dave's was mine, I'm going to change it up a little bit, just for the fact I will say
this happens all the time.
All the time.
Our top 3 tends to at least either be 2 of the 3, every now and then it is all three.
All right. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say my honorable mentions were my original list, which is L Street News, Beer Drinkers United, All About Beer. But I'm going to give you three others that I do peruse, if you will. Anytime I see it out there, and I honestly haven't seen it.
New Jersey, Let's Talk Craft Beer.
Not even close. No. So, which
I used to admin that site, by the way, Pete.
Mid Atlantic Beer News. Mid Atlantic Beer News.
On too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's why you made me stop after New England Beer News.
Right, exactly.
Because that was the next place I was going.
New England Beer News. Yeah, and who do we know that actually used to write for New England Beer News? And
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. So and my number two, I'm going to say, is the many Facebook groups. Honestly,
a lot of
but the number one of that, I will say, in that category, because there's so many. I mean, we're talking about John Stardomsky, and John Stardomsky has Honest Craft Beer Reviews, but it's specifically to reviews. There's not a lot of news going on in that, but I do peruse that often, and there's a lot of newer beers that some people will post on that, and I posted some as well. But I don't give Kivo a lot of credit, but you got to give him some credit. New Jersey, NJCB,
his page to learn about what's going on in New Jersey.
Sure, no, absolutely,
You've got to give him some mention.
I think I mentioned it. Like I use his site for research all the time.
Yeah,
to see what's new, what's where. Like it is great for that.
And the map helps a lot.
And, yeah, exactly. The map. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And we're not talking about Dora Explorer, the map, but
no, we're not talking about Dora Explorer, the map. Not at all. Whatchamacallit? I just want to see one thing here. But no, you're right. Kivo puts a lot of information out about New Jersey, and whatchamacallit? It's pretty great. But as far as the many Facebook groups that I'm talking about, and there's a lot out there that we're part of. We post on probably 30 of them every Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that probably the biggest, and it's not really a Facebook group per se. It is a group, but it's more of a blog, and it's Jeff Allworth's blog, Beervana.
Great.
I missed that one, but yes, he's great.
He's great. Yeah, Jeff writes a lot of good stuff. We've actually posted I had a talk with Jeff like a while back, and he's like, "Look, John, as long as you don't post because it's a group, right? Because it's blog, as long as you don't post every week for your group, like when you're having like one, like if you have, if you like, we posted when we had John Hall on, and I wouldn't. If I was a guest, I wouldn't even post on it. That kind of a thing, right?
What are we having? Tell him to be a guest.
But no, we're working that out. Jeff Allworth's going to come on at some point. But in any event, but beyond that, it is a group. But his blog, I mean, for the most part, I'd probably say 70 to 80% of the content on this group is Jeff's posts, and it's just really good. The things he writes and the stories he breaks and drops, they're really good.
True. I'm gonna run away for about a couple of minutes. Be right back.
All right. Well, I'll just tell Pete my number one. Then it's not my number one; it's my other one, and it's obviously All About Beer was that, but brewbound.com.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of good articles on there. It's probably craftbeer.com is another one. Hop Culture has now purchased Untapped and Beer Advocate, quite frankly. It's all like Hop Culture owns them now, and they do post some interesting things. But Brewbound, between Brewbound, craftbeer.com, and hopculture.com, Brewbound probably I frequent more often than the other two, other than anything that John Hall does by any means. But yeah. That's where my list is. That's where my reconditioned list is, because Dave took all my three. So there you go. But I'm glad I got to mention Jeff Allworth. If you haven't,
I'm glad. I should have.
Yeah, no, Jeff's an amazing writer, and he definitely breaks a lot of really good stories. And if you haven't, if any of you out there are listening to this, whether it be watching the video or listening to the audio afterwards, go to Beervana the blog. That's the name of it, and sign up for it and get his posts. He's got over 3,000 people following him, which I'm shocked it's that low. I'm shocked it's not over 10,000. There's a lot of really good stuff that he posts.
Yeah, very insightful. Gets you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Absolutely.
Who's another? Andy Crouch.
Andy Crouch. Yeah, there's a few out there. I mean, Marty Nickel. He posts a lot of good things too. And I will throw one more out there, and it's almost it's more on the industry side of things, but it's almost for comic relief, but yet with a lesson, if you will. And that's on Instagram. It's Beer Aficionado on Instagram. It's Doug Valicki. He's in management at Revolution Brewing in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And he is constantly posting things industry related, but it's comic relief, if you will, industry related with a lot of lessons to be learned, if you will, and like, oh wow, I didn't think about that. Oh, that's cool. It's not, wouldn't be like in the top 3 by any means, but it's definitely something worth looking at. So if you're looking at anything we've mentioned, definitely check out those other two. Check out Beervana on Facebook and Beer Aficionado on Instagram. Anyway, you're right there, Dave.
Yeah, I'm checking to see if there's room to install a urinal under my desk.
So, and I gotta be honest with you. You obviously had to go really bad because you didn't say I'll be right back. You said I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So you were expecting a lengthy,
I was expecting to shame Tom Hanks in League of Their Own.
Fair enough. All right. So to wrap up some things, okay.
Well, we got a lot of loose ends. But the first thing I want to wrap up, because I don't want it to be the last thing we wrap up, is based on your cap, how do you think the Mets are going to do next year? Oh, he's talking to you, Pete.
Yeah.
Right. I said, based on your cap, how do you think the Mets are going to do next year? I know. That's why I'm asking you.
Basically, by doing that, he's saying, don't care.
Don't care. But I do. I'm a New York, I'm not one of those Yankees fans that hates the Mets. So
I'm a Mets fan. Dave's a Mets fan as well. I'm not a Mets fan that hates the Yankees by any means.
How do you become a Giants fan and a Mets fan? And I have one of my best friends is the same way, and I don't understand it.
Let me put it to you this way.
It happens.
There are a lot more. I'm a Giants fan, and I'll tell you why. A Giants and Mets fan. I'll tell you why. My father was a Giants fan. They moved to San Francisco. He no longer wanted to be a Giants fan because they moved, and he became a Mets fan. But he never, because the Giants were in the National League, he never hated the Yankees. He disliked the Dodgers, but he never hated the Yankees. So I'm a Mets fan that doesn't hate the Yankees, but he became a Mets fan. Obviously his fandom grew for the Mets in '69 more than it did in '62, right? But anyway, so that's how he became a Giants Mets fan. That's how I became a Giants Mets fan. And oddly enough, he actually likes the Yankees now, but that's besides the point.
Mine was a bit odder. I don't even know how it happened. But I'll tell you one thing. The whole thing about being a Mets fan but not a Yankees hater. Both my boys, because of me, are Mets fans. And there's a commercial playing. It was a Ford Edge commercial. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, Jeter was like the spokesperson for the Ford Edge. Jeter has an edge, right? Mm-hmm. And my younger son sees this, goes, Jeter sucks. And I smacked him upside the back of the head. I said, no, we are Mets fans. We're not that kind of Mets fan. You cannot substantiate the fact that Jeter sucks, because Jeter, in fact, does not suck. Yeah, he's one of the greatest players to play the game from so many different angles. He has respect for this game. He's played it with respect. He's never had any controversy. Okay, there was that one cheerleader thing, but that was nothing compared to so many other things out
Not
there.
at all. Yeah.
So I schooled him like, no, this is not the case. And I was actually in what is that bar in Manhattan that only has light and dark? McSorley's. I was sitting in McSorley's watching Jeter's induction into the Yankees Hall of Fame. It was just, you can't do that. You have to respect,
right?
The other teams, and especially in the New York area, we've got so many great athletes that have played the game. I'm excluding the Devils. We're going to get letters. Don't write. Because John and I are also Rangers fans.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You can't get along. Yeah. With the, yeah.
Someone asked me, like, you live in Jersey. How can't you be a Devils fan? Like, because I watched.
Well, I was a hockey fan before the Devils were even here.
They were the Denver Gold at the time. So sorry. Unlike all the rest of the Devils fans who only watched hockey because the Devils won the Stanley Cup.
Right. So, yeah.
I mean, still don't get the game.
So Mets, another playoff team, right? I mean,
they scrubbed.
You would imagine they're in the playoffs again. Who knows what they're? I mean, hey, I think they're going to go. Are they going to win the World Series? Who knows? I would love them to win the World Series, but who knows? They're definitely going to go further than they did last year.
They made some some good moves.
They might go further than the Yankees go this year.
Right. Wouldn't you like to?
But the Yankees have that magic of being.
Would you like to? Would you like to see another? Would you like to see another Subway Series?
Of course.
Who wouldn't?
Right.
Who wouldn't? But and
the rest of the country.
We got back to sports, but I will say that the Yankees. You mentioned Derek Jeter, and the Yankees don't have that guy. That guy that gets the hit. That's bigger than the moment. Mm-hmm. When the moment is big, he's bigger than it. I don't think the Yankees have that guy.
Because let's face it.
Judge is an amazing player, but he's not a cheater.
And let's face it, a solo home run from Aaron Judge is not that clutch hit from Derek Jeter when you need it in the ninth inning.
That's exactly my point.
Right.
Or the guy that can get a sacrifice fly when there's one out and the guy on third base. Like we have guys that strike out. Right. In that situation, and so you got me started.
Yeah, I was never a Yankee hater. In fact, my earliest memory, if you get my earliest bet, whatever that I won, pool, if you will, that I won was actually the night that Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in the '77 World Series, and I actually won. And I was obviously younger at the time, but I definitely won it. But you would think that
you were 9.
You would think, right? But you would think that would make me a Yankees fan. No, I was a Mets fan. So, but I don't hate the Yankees. I'll watch the Yankees. The only time I don't root for the Yankees is when they're playing the Mets and select games that they play the Red Sox. But that's the
same for me in reverse. And I had friends across the street that they had Mets tickets, so I would go see Mets games. So I was originally a Mets fan, and then I was a catcher, so I was enamored with Thurman Munson, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And then I was crushed. But
when I was younger, I was a bandwagon.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
I was a bandwagon fan, so I was a LA Dodgers. And
I was
rooting who's winning, and a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Pittsburgh Steelers all pretty much, except for Starworth, retired en masse. On another team, so I became local, and then the Dodgers. All the players from the Dodgers left
around the same time. Yeah.
Around the same time, so I became a Mets fan. I became a Giants fan. Just in time for the fumble.
By the way, the fumble, Miracle on Meadowlands.
You were at the game.
I was at that game.
I know you were.
Say no more.
You know what it was like to be a young Giants fan in the 70s? That sucked. Okay.
It did. Yeah, we had a reminder of it, recently. So
recently, yeah. Well, I said that a few years ago. I said on Facebook, my time machine works. It's 1976.
I feel young again.
But for all the Jets fans that are laughing at us, we never had a butt fumble.
This is true.
We didn't.
We never had that. So anyway, all right. To wrap up some craft beer stuff, you're working on.
I've got a question for him though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you repeat any breweries in this journey that you're doing?
Yeah, originally that was not the intent, but then when I did the article about the the Brew Jersey beers, I chose to do all local guys, and some of them I'd already written about. So, but I'm trying not to.
Gotcha. Have you thought about doing any breweries that actually have beer out in market but don't have a brewery yet?
Maybe a special on gypsy brewers in the state.
Well, I've written about Ross, so
well, there you go.
I'm just gonna button my lip right there. The big thing is the other brewery we're talking about. They share a head brewer.
Did they really?
That's a long story.
Well.
Unbeknownst to the head brewer
for about a week. Unbeknownst.
All right.
Unbeknownst
to that man. Head
no. So you're okay. Yeah. So he's an interesting character. Our Ross Brewing friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man. We'll do a story on Coast.
I appreciate it. I was kidding, but I appreciate
it.
No.
Once this is over, I got to get back to doing, because I don't have like unlimited amount of time. So, one story a month is a lot for me.
Of course, I get it.
And I want to get back to covering, because I love covering new places that open, and just actually talking to a single brewer. What I'm doing right now is just writing about individual beers and make a little background, but getting into the story of how a brewery came to open, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely it's a lot of pain in the ass, but it's a lot of fun.
It's also kind of
that's why it's a lot of fun. I mean, they all say that too. Everyone's it's a pain in the ass, but it used to be a bigger pain in the ass.
Oh, definitely, it did.
We've actually had a couple breweries in the show that said, the town was great, this was great.
Was great. You never heard
it just came in smoothly. But that is not the common story we get.
No,
not
even close.
And it used to be a lot worse. Almost every town would do everything they could to put up a roadblock, and nobody wanted a brewery. That was that. And then there's like my town, like my guys here at Last Wave. I mean, the town was very very supportive, because they wanted to revitalize the downtown area, and they sure did that.
They did. They definitely did. Nick and Bert are great. I love Nick and Bert. They're great.
I haven't been down to Point Pleasant in a long time. I grew up down there.
I haven't been down to Point Pleasant since
yesterday.
Friday. I was at Point Pleasant.
All right, well, the time you call me, we'll go get a beer.
And I went to elementary school in Bricktown.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. So, and I went to high school in Jackson, so I know that area. Those are my old stomping grounds. I love Point Pleasant, but it's been so long since I've been there. I got to get down to Last Wave.
A lot of my family went to high school and grammar school in Bricktown.
Oh, I went to Herbertsville School. That was my grammar school.
Oh, okay.
Was that on Herbertsville Road?
Last name isn't what? It's probably
actually it's not on Herbertsville Road. By the way, it's off of Herbertsville Road. But one of the best cheesesteaks that was made in the state for the longest time was a place on Herbertsville Road. Finney's.
Finney's, yeah.
Oh, Finney's was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
So, all right, Pete. Anything you want to add to the to this before we sign off?
Yeah, you've got this project going on, which is taking all these new breweries, which is fantastic. I'd love to hear this. You got thoughts on your next project?
No.
Fair enough.
Absolutely fair.
In July or June or July, because that's when I think I'm done with this.
You're going to do a year, and you started in July, so
yeah. So, but no, I'll just get back to spotlighting individual breweries. I would like to take a look back at the hops situation in New Jersey, many years later and see where we are from where we came from.
And as a Rutgers alum, I'm very interested because a lot of people don't realize that the greatest tomatoes in the country were because Cook College made hybrids of these tomatoes, right? So if they're working on hops, they've still got the soil of New Jersey to fight against. But if anybody's going to do a good hop variant in New Jersey, it's going to be Rutgers Cook College.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, there's terroir.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've talked to people in the winemaking industry in New Jersey, and there's that. South Jersey wines, same grape, different if you grow it in North Jersey, obviously, because we have such a microcosm, and this is a whole other conversation, but microcosm of different, not a microcosm, but
microclimates, right? Even
microclimate. Good question. Good term. So you got the sandy soil, you got the acidic soil, you got the rich soils in the north. It's just all different, and
those rich soils of the Piedmont are really good for so many grapes. Like one of my favorite styles that we do of wine in New Jersey is the Champersine, which is, the whole Hudson Valley is rich for Champersine, which was a style that actually died out in France because they had a blight there.
Yeah. Champersine's a great red wine.
And they planted it here. It was very similar. It really took the soil in New Jersey, and Champersine's one of my favorite styles, especially any wine that comes from New Jersey. We get there's so many styles that work here. Yeah. Champersine, I think, is the king in the Hudson Valley.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
That may be So you're gonna be looking at doing something like that after that's awesome. That's awesome.
Now for Jersey Bites, do you write about wine as well or just beer?
I'm mostly the beer guy. Once in a while, I do a little article about the distillery here and there.
I was gonna say we've got some damn good distilleries here too.
Yeah, some pretty good spirits happening. Yeah,
and that's also another whole conversation. But mostly beer.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. This was really good. This was a great show.
Absolutely.
Conversation didn't end. We're over 2 hours, so this is awesome. So, thanks for taking the time. I know we had some technical difficulties to get going, but
phone is more talented than my laptop.
Than your laptop, exactly. Right?
And the video is definitely much better.
Yeah,
definitely.
You don't look nearly as pale as you did on your laptop.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's Is that a good thing or that's a great thing? Yeah, I'm exactly. But anyway, thank you very much for coming on. Stick around. Don't sign off when we sign off. We'll talk to you for a minute after we sign off. But on that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Depending, right?
Usually depending upon John, but I can't blame John today.
No. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly.
Lots of beer.
Always.
Always. And we will talk to you soon, folks. We'll talk to you next week.
It doesn't suck to drink locally either.
And drink local. Yes, drink your local beer. There's so much good local beer, and I'm not even talking about just in New Jersey. Everywhere,
any state,
wherever you're watching this or listening to this, you have great local beer near you. I promise. Find it, seek it out, support it, drink it, enjoy it. All right, but drink responsibly, and we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers. Now we're in the Aqua Gap.
Yep.